We open our eyes as if waking from a dream, staring at the wreckage of the past decade. Could it have been real? Did we truly let politicians, academics, and activists reignite racial strife for their own gain? Did we permit our leaders to erode national sovereignty with open borders? Did we forget what it means to be a woman? Is this how we thought, believed, acted? And what did we gain from the upheaval? Not happiness, but depression. Not connection, but loneliness. Not peace, but a nation at each other's throats. We look back stunned. Were we really ready to swap a free, prosperous society forged over centuries by brave patriots, tireless builders, and noble visionaries for a bleak, conformist, technocratic nightmare ruled by petty despots eager to shape us into submissive drones? Now that we've shaken off the immediate threat, we look around and realize it's time to rebuild. It won't be done by any politician, any department, any law. The rebuilding has to come from us, we the people. Into this chaos have intruded self-appointed advisors, strutting around, showing off their buff bodies and fast cars. Grifters cashing in on the ruin, hoping to sell us on their plan to be who you always dreamed of being, fit, popular, and rich. If we're going to find the way home, we've got to see where we got lost in the first place. Growing up in the 1980s, I came to know the world at the tail end of an age of certainty, of heroes and villains. The Cold War, grinding on since the end of World War II, pitted imperfect freedom against brutal, repressive tyranny. Our world changed in 1989 with the fall of the Berlin Wall. That sudden, unexpected win for the forces of freedom left my generation buzzing with optimism. Horizons were opening. It was the start of an eternal prosperity and happiness brought to us by personal computers, the World Wide Web, cell phones, trade deals, NATO expansion, and the brand new European Union. History was moving forward, making the world smaller and more connected. Historians like Francis Fukuyama crowed it was the end of history. Freedom and democracy had proven their superiority. We had figured out what works. All that was left to do was to tweak it, polish the edges, and coast. Boy, were we wrong. Looking back, we see that history hadn't ended. The dawn was a false one. Amid all the optimism, there were hints of what was to come. War and genocide in Rwanda and Bosnia should have reminded us that the world is a dangerous place. The O.J. Simpson trial should have alerted us to the racial tensions simmering under the surface. The 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center brought international terror to our shores. Domestic terror reared its ugly head in 1995 in Oklahoma City. None of the warnings fully registered, not until the bright, sunny optimism ended one clear day in September. 9/11 landed like a gut punch, ending that dream. The Spice Girls and the tech boom were replaced by TSA lines and orange alerts. Instead of being the world's lone superpower, we found ourselves in a world of hostility, non-state actors, endless conflict, and eroded trust. The political correctness that had already begun to take hold in the 1990s meant that many blamed the attacks on religion in general, far more socially acceptable than pinning the blame on our immigration policies or on any particular religion. Richard Dawkins and his fellow atheists spoke for a moment in time, a time when our betters claimed to know the cause of our problem. It was all so simple. We had to get rid of faith. And so we did. And with it, we lost all the connection, the guidance, and the community that only faith can provide. Had we that wisdom, we might have made better choices, going into a world run by social media, and now by AI. It's time to rebuild. If we're going to rebuild on sounder footing, we need to figure out what went wrong in the first place. But politics isn't the only way. If we're going to keep the train on the tracks, we've got to rebuild our culture, our families, our faith. Let's take a step back to 2006. It was the year Richard Dawkins released his documentary, The Root of All Evil. We'll ask ourselves, were we right to trust him? Did he offer us good guidance? Or was his insistence that we abandon the faiths of our fathers the root of all foolishness? What makes this video different? When Richard Dawkins released his book and documentary in the aughts, the weaknesses of his arguments were thoroughly picked over. 20 years of history has enabled us to have a fresh look at his ideas, with the benefit of hindsight. How well did the predictions he made turn out in the real world? Religious belief in England, especially among the ruling class, has declined significantly. Dawkins' ideas have been put to the test. In the videos to come, we will explore how his ideas fared when the rubber met the road. The existence of God is a question with eternal relevance. We know, for instance, that the Jewish idea has been put to the harshest tests that any idea can experience. It has been forced to confront the realities of the world for thousands of years. There, it could continue swimming against the stream in defiance of the odds. Or it can sink, victim to the forces of assimilation and the whims of powerful enemies, threatened by a people who answer to an authority higher than theirs. Dawkins' ideas, by contrast, have not been threatened. Instead, they've been coddled by elites and boosters, eager to strip away the vestiges of faith from populations they want to control, allowing them to persuade their citizens to do things they would be unwilling to do if they were bound by the notion that God was watching. What do I mean when I title the video, The Root of All Foolishness? By foolish, do I mean that Richard Dawkins is a dull or stupid man with a low IQ? Not at all. He has a doctorate from Oxford University, one of the world's most prestigious universities, which he earned in 1966, before our colleges degraded into what they are today. He's a clever and charismatic speaker who attracted large following and made a fortune doing it. He can synthesize and organize large amounts of complicated material to make his point, and he's mastered a grab bag of rhetorical tricks that paper over the weaknesses in his arguments. Dawkins' high intelligence is part of the problem. High IQ has a tendency to make foolishness greater, not lesser. You see, people with high IQs excel at justifying what they already believe to their echo chambers. Dumb people can only stumble so far, but to believe in the truly grand delusions, you need a high IQ. What I mean by foolishness is the absence of wisdom. So, let me tell you a story about what wisdom really means. During the course of his conquests, Alexander the Great came to the Holy Land. There, he met the rabbis, the sages of the Jewish people. The great conqueror confronted these men renowned for their wisdom, no doubt seeking their praise for his philosophical acumen. Like Richard Dawkins, Alexander had attended the best schools and studied under the best teachers. He was taught philosophy by Aristotle himself. "Who is truly worthy of being called wise?" Alexander asked. The rabbi's answer was one thoroughly rooted in Jewish ethics. They said to him, "Who is the wise person? The one who sees and anticipates the consequences of his actions." So, with the advantage of elite backing, elite education, and a high IQ, did Richard Dawkins see the consequences of his actions? How did his ideas fare in the real world when the rubber met the road? Rather poorly, I'd say. In the videos to come, we're going to cut to the heart of the matter and take a deep dive into Richard Dawkins' 2006 documentary, The Root of All Evil, and into the works of those like him, and see what wisdom, if any, turns up. But we're not just going to pick on poor Richard. We're going to offer something better, an alternative vision. We will revisit the wisdom we've lost, see how ancient wisdom can guide us through the modern world. Like and subscribe for content you're not going to want to miss. If you want to see clearly the landmarks that we missed along the road that took us into Clown World, and we're going to see the path back home. Comment below.